just found out that you're moving to a new grade level. What do you do with all the books? I've got a few ideas for you. Let's go check them out. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sarah, and I show up every Sunday night on this YouTube channel with read aloud tips and book ideas for you to take back to your classroom that week. If that sounds like something you're interested in, give this video a thumbs up, hit that red subscribe button down below. Today I want to chat about a question that I've gotten asked quite often, especially at the end of the school year. So often at this time, teachers are learning that they're moving to a new grade level, and one thing that they're really concerned about is what to do with all of their books. You could do what I did and pack them all in a box and leave them sitting in your basement for years, but I don't recommend that. I want you to be able to keep books in children's hands as much as possible. So I have a few ideas for you. First, it depends on how big of a jump you are moving between grade levels, because the easiest thing you can do is keep your books. If you're only moving 1 or 2 grade levels, a lot of those books can be used over with different students. Just because you've moved from 2nd to 3rd grade doesn't mean that you can't use those books with your new students. There are not specifically 2nd grade books or 3rd grade books. Books can be read by children of all ages. I wish that I had realized a long time ago when I moved from 2nd to 5th grade that 5th graders still really like picture books. That I could still do picture book read-alouds in my classroom. I could have kept so many of my books when I moved up a few grade levels. And similarly, if you are moving down grade levels, some of those younger kids can read the early chapter books or some of the books that you may have had in your upper elementary classroom. I always warn you to check for the age appropriateness of the books, because even though a kid can read a book, it might not be appropriate for their age level. So always pay attention to that. But a lot of books can be used in different grade levels. So that's my first tip. Keep your books and see how you can reuse them in a different grade level. The second thing that you could do with your books is see if your colleagues would be interested in them. The grade level team that you're leaving, some of them may be interested in the books that you don't need anymore. If you're making a big leap from maybe kindergarten to 5th grade, a lot of those books aren't going to transfer, but maybe see if some of the 1st grade teachers would be interested in using some of the books that you have. Check with your school librarian. Could he or she use some of your books in the library? Add them to their collection for kids to check out throughout the year. I bet they would be thrilled to have new books in the library. Or also, in one of the schools that I worked in the teacher's room, we had a spot where teachers could donate things that they didn't need in their classroom anymore, and other people could pick them up and use them with their students. So you could always start one of those in your school, an area where you can put books that may not be good for the grade level you're teaching, but another teacher could use them. All you do is drop them off, and then other teachers can browse through them and choose the ones that they think would work well in their classroom. So that is my second tip. Check if fellow teachers can use your books that you don't need anymore in their classrooms. The third thing that you could do with your books is give them to students. There's nothing better than putting books in kids' hands. So before the school year ends, you could gather together the books that you no longer think that you need, and you can have students either choose the books that they would like to take, you could raffle them off, you could think of different ways that students can take these books home. What a wonderful way to provide them with more books for the summer, and they'll be so excited to have books from your classroom library. It's such a special way for them to have memories of your classroom and the time that they spent with you, and it will give them extra chances to read, especially during a time when they're not in school. So my third tip for removing books from your classroom that you no longer need when switching grade levels is to give them to your students. What a wonderful end of the year gift for them. The fourth thing you can do with your books is you can donate them. There are lots of places that will take used books, especially if they're in still pretty decent condition. So for example, you can find little free libraries. I'm sure you have some around your town or in neighboring towns. And these are little boxes. You'll find them in parks, by playgrounds, on the side of the road. And basically what you do with a little free library is you can donate books, but then you can also take a book from it. It's just a way for readers to share books across the country pretty much. But you can donate some of your used books from your classrooms to these little free libraries. I'm sure there are parents across your town that would be so excited to find children's books in these areas that they can take home and share with their own kids. You could also donate books to your local library. I know the local libraries around here do book sales a few times throughout the year. And actually that's where I got a lot of my own classroom books. And I'll leave a link right here with the video that shows how I got cheap books for my classroom if you want to check that one out as well. But throughout the year, these libraries collect used books from the patrons of the library, and then they have a used book sale. Again, my libraries do it 2 to 3 times a year, usually in the fall and the spring. And you can go and you can get books for as cheap as 25 cents. Really nice hardcover books. Some are barely used at all. It's a great way to stock up your own library, but then when you have books that you no longer need, you can donate them back. I know that your library will be very appreciative of any donations that you can give. So tip number 4 was to donate the books that you no longer need in your classroom. And moving on to tip number 5, another thing that you can do with the books that you no longer need is you can sell them. Stores such as Half Price Books will take your books back and will give you a percentage of the book price back to you. Personally, I have never used Half Price Books, but I've heard really good things about it. You do get a lot of money back for them, but it's something, which is always better than nothing, right? Or you can also go online, and there are many websites that you can go to that you can ship your books back, and again, they will give you a percentage back on what you paid for the books. This takes a little bit more work, but if it's something that you're interested in, it's a nice way to make a few extra dollars off of the books that you no longer need. You could also check out your local independently owned bookstores. Sometimes they sell used books and they are willing to pay you for some of the books that you have, especially if they are in good condition. So tip number 5 was to sell any of the books that you no longer need in your classroom. So those are my 5 tips for getting rid of some of the books that you no longer need in your classroom if you are moving to a new grade level. I hope that you are really excited to switch to a different grade and are ready to experience a new age level of students. It's always a little nerve-wracking, but a lot of fun as well. I hope that you'll be able to use some of these tips as you are changing grade levels and switching up the books that you need for your students. If you have any other ideas for what to do with books that you no longer need, feel free to leave them in the comment down below because I know it could benefit all of us. I hope that this video was helpful for you. If it was, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Hit that red subscribe button down below because I'll be back next week with our monthly set of books for the month of June. I can't believe that it's almost summer already, but I hope that you have a great week.